Ahead of you is a once-in-a-lifetime experience you'll never forget. An important thing to keep in mind as you prepare for this journey is that your host family is not just the people who make you food, and your house is not just where you sleep. With a little bit of effort on your part, you can build a real relationship with your host family. Not only someone to introduce you to their language and culture, but someone who will help take care of you when you're in need. And they won't regulate your every move. In fact, quite the opposite. They want you to be safe and comfortable, but also care about you like your family would. However, this doesn't mean that you can come and go as you please without notifying them. While they will respect your schedule and your travels, one of the most important things that you must do is notify your host family if you're going to be arriving late, are unable to make it to dinner, or if you're planning on traveling anywhere overnight. Remember, you are not allowed to spend more than 4 consecutive nights away, except during spring break. They won't object to attending a flamenco class on Tuesday night, but it is courteous to let them know in advance if they won't need to set a place for you at dinner. So, how will you know what time dinner is every night? Your first night in the house, sit down with your family and roommate, if you have one, to establish a routine and set expectations, including meal times, dietary restrictions, food preferences, and any house norms the family might have. Also, we provide roommate and homestay agreement forms which you should go through and fill out together, as they will help resolve any future issues more comfortably and before they escalate. You can find these on our website in the housing section. Food and meals are the heart of Spanish culture. Each family will cook an assortment of meals, share different customs, and have distinct rules regarding the use of the kitchen, the appliances, and the space you will have to store your things. Some families will allow you to use the microwave or the toaster, but you should always ask their permission and never assume. The same goes for the refrigerator. It's possible that they will designate a part of a shelf for you to put your own food or snacks, but this isn't always the case. Nevertheless, you are not allowed to cook meals or have food delivered. They will provide breakfast and dinner, and you are responsible for getting lunch on your own. Also, it's important for you to understand that meals are very different in Spain in many ways. Breakfast is typically quite light and consists of things like biscuits and milk, cereal, yogurt and fruit, or a small pastry. So don't expect your host family to cook you a bacon, egg, and cheese omelet or whip up some pancakes. All in all, we expect you to be open-minded and willing to try new things. Even if breakfast or dinner isn't something you would normally eat back at home, you should still try it, and if you don't like it, you can say, "Muchas gracias, pero no me gusta." It's best to be honest with them so they can understand your preferences, and they won't be offended if you say it politely. If you never tell them that you don't like paella, you might just end up eating paella once a week for the whole semester. We know that traveling is going to be a big part of your time abroad, be it around Spain or Europe. So you need to be aware that getting bed bugs is a real possibility when you travel. Therefore, we have created a bed bug protocol to inform you of methods you can use to try and actively prevent bed bugs both during your travels and once you return. For instance, while traveling, you should always inspect beds and linens for any signs of bed bugs, regardless of where you're staying. You can find this resource on our website under the housing section and on our app in Travel Safety. Your homestay assignments are bed bug free prior to your arrival. Therefore, you will be responsible for fumigation costs if any appear. If you see any bed bugs in your room in Madrid, come to the Student Life office to notify us right away, and we will assist you with the next steps. A change in host family will only be considered in exceptional circumstances, and only after a 15-day adaptation period. Also, changes are subject to the Office of Student Life's approval, and will only be considered if the circumstances in the home you are in may have a negative impact on your health or safety. The same rules also apply to roommate changes. If an issue arises with your host family or your roommate, be it about behavior, meals, or otherwise, be sure to try and communicate with them first. It might be a good time to put the agreement form into practice. However, if you're unable to come to a resolution, please stop by the Student Life office and speak to our staff member in charge of housing. For more information, all homestay and roommate change policy rules and guidelines can be found on the Syracuse Madrid website. Drugs and alcohol are strictly prohibited, even possessing closed alcohol bottles. See the Student Code of Conduct and the Homestay Guidelines for more details. Guests, including family members, are not allowed to spend the night at your home and are not allowed in the home without prior permission from the host family. Your host family will wash your clothes for you once a week. A great way to show your appreciation is to keep your room tidy. They can't know what laundry needs cleaning if everything's all over the floor. You'll also find that clothes are usually line dried and that the dryers are the exception rather than the rule. This means that your clothes will take longer to dry than you're used to, so make sure you plan accordingly. Utilities in Spain cost much more than in the US. Please be courteous of this. Keep your showers short and to one a day, and always turn off the lights in your room and bathroom whenever you don't absolutely need them on, and especially when you leave. They will appreciate the effort. Also, your Wi-Fi might not be as strong as you're used to, so keep this in mind when you're streaming shows or getting in touch with loved ones. You'll quickly notice that the walls in Spanish apartments are very thin and that noise carries. Close doors quietly and walk gently once you get home, especially if it's late. And avoid wearing heeled or heavily soled shoes until you're about to leave the house, and take them off immediately upon return. Similarly, keep the volume low when using Skype, FaceTime, or making phone calls. They understand the time difference between Spain and the United States, but avoid late night calls so that you and your host family, roommate, and neighbors can all get a good night's sleep. The most important thing is to step outside your comfort zone. If you don't put in the effort, neither will they. And while it may feel easier to sit in your room texting your friends or FaceTiming with your loved ones back at home, step into the living room and watch TV with your host family, or strike up a conversation with them about their favorite shows, meals, or family traditions. Before you know it, you'll be fitting right in, and by the end of your stay, you may have even found yourself a second family. And don't worry, they're just as excited to meet you as you are nervous to meet them.